What is going on?
What is happening?
What's up?
Well, I'm currently waiting for my wife to go sailing. I'm on vacation, so what exactly do you want me to do?
But haven't you taken a moment to look at YouTube? Haven't you thoroughly gone through the comments?
What part of I'm on vacation didn't you understand?
Everyone is saying, we want the second part of the video. We want the second part of the video. We absolutely cannot wait for 2 weeks. We must definitely put it up this week.
You sold it to me as the video that would give me the least amount of work in history?
Let's see, David. We owe it to our fans. That's just how it is.
Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. What the hell do I have to do?
I require an introduction, that's all. Create an introduction for me, construct an introduction, and I will assemble it swiftly, then we shall upload it.
Previously on the low-cost sailor. Well, the previous episode should pop up somewhere around here, so let's move on to the second part of the tour inside the boat. And since basically everything is already recorded, you can go on in and I'll stay here then. Now we can go to one of the central parts of the boat. Around the chart table is where practically all our electronics and all the main devices are located. Certainly, if we commence at this juncture, in addition to the vacuum cleaner, the rechargeable automobile vacuums are also rather compact and aid in keeping the boat immaculately clean. I'll also probably provide the link to one of the ones I use, which is my favorite. And then over here we have the entire electronics section. These are battery meters from AliExpress as well, super cheap. I have 3 batteries on this boat. 2 are monitored here, and the third one, which is the engine's starting battery, is not monitored. Right now they are charging, and I have 13.97 and 13.89 volts. And here we have the consumption. And the consumption since the last time I reset them. Since the last time, 1,359 watts on this one and 521 on this one. Underneath, our Raspberry Pi and the cables that connect to the TV come out over here. Connected to the Raspberry, there is a bunch of stuff that we will see in the following episodes, and some of it we have already seen. This, for example, is accelerometers, which let us know the boat's position at all times and would also help us build an autopilot for the boat. A USB hub, where what we have is connected wirelessly here. We are receiving the data from the solar panel from here. This one, I believe, is connected to the NMEA 2000 and is extracting data from the external plotter and that sort of thing. This one is an adapter for SeaTalk, and it's extracting data from the wind equipment and all that sort of stuff. Also, our TV tuner, which is receiving the AIS, the ship. Our network cable, which goes to a USB hub because we have so many cameras and gadgets that we have a USB hub set up here. Here on the right, which you would see in our episode on how to have internet on the boat, we have our router with its G-stick and it's connected here. And this is where the internet from outside comes in with the jammer cap. And this is the antenna that repeats the signal inside the boat. Additionally, this camera cost 12 euros, I think, which we also saw in the episode on how to set up an alarm.
Wait. Bart, say your part.
Please, go ahead and express it, Bartholomew. Yet another camera. Have you seen this one? Radio. I took this from my sister's car. Thank you very much, Sandra. And subsequently we possess a speaker, a lighter connector, and this particular one that we shall observe here is the controller for the 220 inverter. This device supplies us with 220 current to all the boat's outlets whenever we are away from the port. And the control panel, which is the one that came with the boat, from which I've removed some things and added some things. It's all the classic features we normally have in a control panel. But one of the advantages of this, and we'll show it to you one day, we'll dedicate an episode to it, is that in the back we have a controller connected to the Wi-Fi, where, for example, you can see the refrigerator. If I want to turn on the fridge from home, I can click here and the fridge turns on. If I want to turn it off so there's no noise on the camera, the fridge turned off. Out of all these, I have a lot of them connected for automation. For example, we have the bilge pump, to which I added a new switch. When we did the episode on how to install a water detector alarm, this switch converts the pump to manual, or it would be in manual mode, and this way it would be in automatic mode, which would also activate if the water level rises. Now we will see the bilges and how that works. Finally, switches for the remote controller, which allows the panel to be operated remotely, the gas alarm that we will see outside, and two of the main cameras, which are the bow and masthead cameras that I can adjust from here. One of the most convenient things I have is the 2120 selector. This selector lets me choose if the 2120 power in the boat's outlets comes from the ports connected cable, if they are all turned off and there is no power in any of them, or if the power comes from the 2120 inverter. So anything I have plugged in can work both while sailing and in port, or I can disconnect everything so it doesn't consume power. The legally required and recommended radio station? I don't use it much, but the law requires it. Some instrument that we manufacture at my company, for example. This is a temperature and humidity sensor that transmits via wireless networks, or this one here, for instance, which is the Sense Power. What it detects is when the power goes out at the bar and it sends me an alert, and if the power goes out on the boat, for example, because someone unplugs my cable or they steal it from me like last time, I receive an alert on my phone, and then I decide, well, I'm going to turn off the fridge so the battery doesn't burn out, and that's it. Another thing is that if we turn on the fridge, you can also use the switches remotely or locally. If you notice, I changed the fridge thermostat to a digital one from AliExpress, which is much more convenient, much more precise, and works much better. Plus, now I know what temperature the fridge is at, which I didn't know before. Computer, chart table, and paper charts. The paper charts are here, and I won't show them to you, but rest assured, authorities, I have them. They're very important per the royal decree, and it's essential to have paper charts and know how to use them well. At least they're not required to be laminated, though they should be, because otherwise, with humidity, they won't last long.
Furthermore, an additional roll of paper.
It's essentially a roll of toilet paper that resembles cards. And in that manner, you can continue operating with a portable power bank, items of that nature. This particular one we also observed, or you may have noticed, is the radio antenna. Can I choose between using it for the AIS, which is how it's set up now, or when I turn on the radio, where I have some huge warnings here, for example, also written, okay? Before using the radio, you need to switch this toggle to radio to select whether the external antenna uses the radios or the outside one.
And those small indicators are there to serve as reminders for you.
Yes. It's not for others, I know it myself. It's for when you tell someone in case of an emergency. If I'm indisposed, half dead, someone can follow the instructions with the little signs. And under the chart table, we have the refrigerator compressor and another fire extinguisher. This one is not expired. I'm not saying the other one is, but this one is not expired. And I neither confirm nor deny that the other one is expired. We would only have left here in the living room to see, well, that you will know this from other episodes, which is our bilges, which you see I have as clean as a whistle. And here we have the flood detector sensor to detect if there is anything in the bilge, and this float is what activates the automatic pump. A significant detail to note is that all the original light bulbs on the boat, where I have retained the fixtures, have been substituted with LED bulbs to consume less energy. AliExpress is the king of LED bulbs in all sizes you can imagine. I recommend switching to LED. Then, for example, I also have these USB lamps around here. I have them everywhere, and they are super convenient because you can plug them into any USB and they light up here on the chart table for not illuminating too much at night, etc. And not content with the illumination that was originally provided with these fixtures, I installed the LED strips you observe here. I possess this particular one, which serves as the primary source to completely illuminate the living room area. Then, when I am sailing, for instance, I can choose to illuminate only by directing the light towards the windows. You'll notice that I have this indirect lighting that shines from the windows so it doesn't strain your eyes, and you also have the living room well lit for descending, entering, and exiting.
If it could already be set to colors, it would be awesome.
Yes, it can be done, but it seemed too much to me. However, setting them to red, for example, so they don't strain your eyes and you can keep navigating is great. Subsequently, we traversed this enormous doorway and proceeded into the kitchen area. In the kitchen, the most notable feature is the gas oven with a gas stove. It came with the boat, but the grill was missing. The previous owner lost it, I don't know how, so my father made this one for me. This is super useful. It's a dish rack. I'm not sure if it's actually a dish rack, but I use it as one from IKEA. It fits here when I'm cooking, and if not, I place it here to put all the dishes and let them dry there. Typically, the refrigerator that contains food,
I'm showing it because individuals genuinely enjoy observing what others have stored in their refrigerator, naturally.
Tortilla española, salmorejo, Coca-Cola, alcoholic beverages, and H2O. and subsequently here with 1. If you desire to keep it open, you additionally have something here to hold it open. The refrigerator, one of the particularly intriguing features it possesses, because here in the sink, we have the sink that has both hot and cold water, as it has the boiler, and it has a very interesting feature, which is this faucet, that with a key below you can adjust it to be a saltwater faucet that draws from the ground, or as it is configured now, it is a faucet that extracts the condensed water from the refrigerator. Maybe one of you can clarify this for me, but I don't know what its real purpose is, why it was designed. Whoever designed it, I suppose, to dry the fridge, but it occurs to me that if you get stranded in the middle of the sea but have energy, the fridge will start condensing water, and from here you could get fresh water. You leave the door always open, the fridge starts condensing water, and you can collect it from here, giving you fresh water to survive. For example, the refrigerator underneath by the compressor in the summer expels a significant amount of water, maybe about a liter of water a day, and you can mix that with salt water in proportions to survive in any situation. The last survivor, that's my imagination. And continuing with the kitchen, an IKEA paper towel holder, slightly modified so it wouldn't fit here. This cabinet, which I actually rearranged when I installed the microwave. I might dedicate an episode one day to food you can store on a boat that doesn't need refrigeration for months or even years, surprisingly. Like garlic chicken that expires in February 2022. Doesn't need refrigeration and isn't bad. I'll do a tasting of these things for you one day. The utensils and all those types of things. Tupperware containing various items on boats is crucial because anything that could be exposed to moisture is better preserved in an airtight container to prevent any moisture from seeping in. The microwave, which with the inverter I can use both in the harbor and while sailing, in the end works exactly the same as the others. Plugs. I switch the plug from one to the other and it works that way. It's the smallest one I found, it fits me perfectly. And on top of that, this is going to surprise you. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I bought it on Amazon, but in a section where they have items that get returned. So they're like things that were sent out, got returned, and then they might have a defect. For example, this one was labeled as having cosmetic damage, but I haven't been able to find the cosmetic damage it supposedly had. So instead of costing 90 euros, I think it cost me 40. Amazon Renewed will provide you with a link to Amazon Renewed items. This is the compact window where I position the fans to establish the smoke extractor. And approximately, this is the central kitchen area where I execute all my culinary artistry, which I excel at in unimaginable manners. That is precisely the reason you've observed that all the cuisine is pre-prepared. Let's proceed over this way, and here we find the restroom, the lavatory, the renowned WC toilet, and the toilet service.
Even if you venture outside,
position it securely, otherwise we shall not be able to complete. This is the conventional traditional lavatory, akin to any typically found on a vessel. The only distinctive elements are the innovations that have been incorporated from IKEA. This is a holder for something in the shower, super convenient, it sticks with suction cups and works great. I bought this other one on AliExpress, and it's a suction cup that you can use in a tricky moment if you need to maintain your balance. They actually sell it for the elderly. I actually bought it with the idea of using it to clean the hull while diving and to hold on to the boat. You put it on the side and then you can hold on to it. But when I don't use it for that, to hold myself, wow, it really sticks to hold me, so I basically store it here. Toilet paper holders, all those kinds of inventions. Please bear in mind that the main cause of problems is the disposal of toilet paper in the toilet itself. So, here is the toilet paper, the waste bin where you can properly dispose of the toilet paper, and here are some plugs and items to securely close the valves and seal them if necessary. An additional outlet, but protected because after all the bathroom is humid, it's a shower in itself. The cabinet's filled with a multitude of miscellaneous items and similar things. Towels, all sorts of items, things of that nature.
amenities?
Amenities, my wife's box, where she keeps her things. Air freshener, which is a car one but works quite well. And another invention I added here is that when I have to dry something in winter, especially the suit, I don't just use any of those things. I turn this into a clothesline. So I have these two supports here that I turn into a clothesline. I hang it here, then I put the dehumidifier there, close it, and everything dries in no time with the dehumidifier. Well, I think there are no more secrets in the bathroom. So let's go to the main cabin. This is the main cabin showcasing apparel, a life vest, the wardrobes, and any other items that might be present given the size of this vessel, particularly considering it contains 3 cabins. Therefore, this is a remarkable cabin furnished with its shelving units, numerous shelves procured from IKEA, That USB gadget I showed you earlier, well, here I have another one to light up the phone charger, an IKEA tray too. These nets for hanging things are super useful. They sell them at nautical stores and they cost money, but at IKEA they cost nothing and they sell them there too. Fans and a smart TV. This is a television. It's 220V. It works for me either when I'm in port or when I have the inverter plugged in. And since it's a smart TV, I can also use it. For example, if someone is steering the boat and I don't really trust them, I can use it to view the cameras, for instance from here, and then I can be there half asleep while seeing that we're not crashing into anything.
There's Big Brother watching over everyone.
I'm happy just watching what's ahead of the boat when someone else is steering.
The low-cost sailor outfit.
The official outfit.
The uniform.
And a small space heater, because I'm sure those of you who live in the southern areas and the Mediterranean invest in air conditioners, and here we invest in heaters. And I almost forgot, the solar panels go to this controller, an MPPT controller. This is the only good name brand thing I think I've bought, and I have it connected to the Raspberry Pi through a wireless transmitter that I have connected here. So from the Raspberry Pi, from home, from any tablet, from the TV, I can know at any time how much energy I'm generating, how much energy I'm consuming, etc. And before we go in there, let's take a look at the engine. We'll leave the door of mysteries for the end. Under this cover, which is the stairs, we have the 18 horsepower Yanmar 2GM20F. Very reliable in many ways, not very powerful either, but once it's running, it's hard to stop, although sometimes it does stop, which we'll also see in an episode. For instance, I have a sensor installed, specifically the tachometer, which is positioned externally. In this particular instance, I have placed it in this manner, although I will likely modify its placement in the future because the original costs around 90 euros or even over 100 euros, whereas this one only costs 3. And now, indeed, we come to the final cabin, which resembles more of a garage, the garage. Here, I possess all the items you could possibly envision. Perhaps we ought to concentrate here. What exactly do we have here? Well, what exactly do we have here?
Fishing rods that are designed without barbs.
These are non-lethal fishing rods, theoretically designed for catching bonito. Hopefully, they'll successfully catch one someday. The 220-volt inverter is rated at 2,500 watts, which is more than sufficient for the microwave. And we have it installed here, but we control it from the control panel. And this, Carlos will almost have to lie down. You go ahead to record the charger, which is also a brand name.
Good brand.
Yes, it's a good brand. I didn't buy it, my partner did. So this is the charger for the 3 batteries, which charges them independently, and at the same time when you're in port, it powers everything.
This is equally as large as the other one, isn't it?
Well, it is equally as wide, but if you observe it similarly to the other one, like the hatch, it is located right here. This section here in the other one has free height, and here it is considerably smaller. In height, it's lower, and then the other one extends a bit more outward. The space where you are right now is also a bit larger. Well, let's continue reviewing around here a bit. As I've told you, I call this the garage because we have the electric outboard motor here. If you look, that over there is the 220V electrical panel. The boat circuit breakers are there. The Chinese compressor you already know, ropes, pumps. There's also a kite surfing kite over there and its harness. And then we start with the toy section. We really have an inflatable SUP board. This yellow thing, an inflatable unicorn just in case. You always need to have a unicorn. Imagine the boat is sinking, you could always pull out your inflatable unicorn. Carlos will put up an image now, and it could save your life at a given moment. Then, since it's a garage, we have a submarine. If you haven't seen the submarine episode, I'm almost not going to talk to you, because it's the best one we've ever done. This might truly astonish you. This particular bag, well, it's my jacket from my genuine diving equipment. Ropes, life vests, and the regulator from the Chinese manufactured air compressor. Climbing harness to climb the mast. Over there's also the ladder to climb the mast from one of our first episodes. A pole gifted by Antonio, a channel follower. I need to extend it a bit, but it's been super useful. I didn't have one before, as you saw in the last tour where I mentioned it. Now, I finally have one. And finally this, which I believe deserves its own episode, is a bicycle. An electric bicycle, in fact, that fits here and is probably the cheapest electric bicycle there is, yet one of the most useful. I am absolutely delighted with this bicycle. I've already accumulated 5,000 kilometers on it. I can effortlessly ride from my home to the boat with it, or when I travel, I take a couple disembark them, and embark on an excursion. Honestly, it's an incredible invention. You can conveniently store it in a bag and have it readily available, get to the boat, take it along with you, and so on.
Yes, it's truly a garage.
This is, broadly speaking and without going into much more detail, the interior boat tour of the ship. If you like something, if something catches your attention, if you want us to dedicate an episode to something, if you want us to talk more about something, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Honestly, it didn't take much effort for us, so that's why we did it. August is a month when we don't like to work too much, but I'm convinced the boat tour can be very interesting for you if you see something you'd like us to pay more attention to, if you'd like to know more about things. In any case, we're going to put a lot of links in the description and on our website, www.thelowcostsailor.com, where you'll be able to find all the information about everything we've shown. And in any case, I'm telling you now that we're going to keep working in August in a different way, which is why we made this video. In return, you will have a lot of videos with spectacular sailing images and that kind of thing, which is what we will be doing now in the summer. So, thank you very much for your attention, sailors. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel. You have all the links in the video description, and hit the famous bell to receive notifications. We will see you in approximately 2 weeks, right in the middle of August, with a brand new episode of The Low Cost Sailor.